What's that story you've never been able to tell? Like and subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts and stories down below. This is probably going to get lost, but I just want to put it out into the void. I'm a recovering substance addict. I dropped out of school but would still show up on campus to pick up substances or meet people. I was sitting outside the cafe one night waiting on some pills. I weighed 100 pounds soaking wet and hadn't eaten in days. There was this girl in the honors program with me. I was still enrolled and we had many classes in that program together. She was a unique young lady. My friend and I bullied her in the past and didn't try to hide it. She walked by me and asked how I was, and I was so clearly sick. There was an awkward silence, and she asked me if she could buy me some food. She took me into the cafe and bought me a cookie. I said thank you, and we parted ways. I cried so hard that night. I was overwhelmed with guilt and gratitude and shame. I never saw her again. That was about 8 years ago, and I remember it clearly, down to what I was wearing. I don't remember her name, but I will never forget her kindness. It was a bright moment in an otherwise sad time in my life. Wherever she is, I wish I could thank her. I found out when I was 28 that my dad's side of the family had been in the witness protection program my entire life, and that their names were not what I had been told. A commenter asked, "What are they hiding from?" and OP decided to share. My grandma was part of a major drug bust in the 80s that ended up involving the entire family, and they had to move cross-country and change names. My mother told me this, because I honestly don't remember. I was around the age of 5 to 7. We were at my grandfather's apartment and right outside his door. I stopped, turned around, and said in a very serious voice, "Grandfather's dead." Turns out I was correct. He died in his sleep. I didn't understand the concept of mortality at the time, so this understandably freaked out both my parents. I didn't know this until after, but apparently when you're a raging alcoholic, you lose out on REM sleep, lose out on enough REM sleep, and your body forces you into a kind of dream when you're awake, leading to auditory hallucinations. I'm at my job, and the week before found out that if I only drank in the morning and not at lunch, I'd get the shakes before the end of the day. I skipped a couple lunch drinks and started hearing things at the end of the day. Problem was, I didn't know I was hearing things. First day, I hear the Wheel of Fortune chant coming from a meeting room. A lady walks by, and I ask her if she hears it too. I'm sure she had no clue what I was asking. Second day, I hear chanting for someone named Erica in the conference room. This made sense because I used to work at a place that employed someone named Erica who did marketing visits at agencies like my former place of employment. The third day, I'm at home and I hear my roommate yelling at me. "Yeah, he's being a pussy because his dad smoked a cigarette." My dad used to smoke and had also had a heart attack recently. I thought he was shit-talking me, so I yelled from my room, "I said heart attack, not cigarette, you female dog." His girlfriend and him came up and were like, "Dude, what is going on? We're not even talking. Is everything okay?" Over the next couple weeks, I tried to sleep without drinking, but I ended up sleeping 1 hour or so. During the night, I'd grind my teeth so hard they felt loose the next morning. I started to realize that the past couple months had been filled with auditory hallucinations, and I was probably just yelling at people randomly. Anyway, I've been sober for a little over 6 years now. Good on you, OP, on being sober. Keep it up. About 6 months ago, I was very close to unaliving myself. I actually was about to do it, thinking about unaliving myself, and at one point, I had agreed to myself I would end it. I got home that night, and it was just me, my cat, and my fiancé was at work. My cat, who I think knew I was sad, she never sits in people's laps, sat up in my lap, proceeded to flip on her belly and play wrestle with her hand. I broke down for about 3 hours. My fiancée came home none the wiser, but I had bought my favorite dish from her work, which is a brewery, 'cause she knew I was feeling down. I've never told her that was the night I decided not to pull the trigger. I just wanna put a little edit out there. Y'all are too kind. I tried replying to as many as possible, and it's good to know there are so many kind souls out there. If you ever feel the same way I did, be sure to find someone who will listen. It can be me if you want, or the hotline. Anything. Just know the world is a better place with you in it. Stay strong. When I was a college freshman, I tried to boil 3 eggs and then I fell asleep. I woke up to a smell. I went to the stove and the water was completely gone from the pot. So like an idiot, I get some water in a big bowl and poured it into the pot. You probably know where this is going. The eggs exploded like dynamite. Scalding hot egg hit my face. It blew me back and knocked me to the floor. And here's the scary part. I felt my face and looked at the egg on my finger, but I thought there was burnt skin coming off my face. I almost started crying. How badly burned was I that my facial skin came off to the touch? I walked to the bathroom shaking. I looked in the mirror. I expected to see a horribly disfigured face, but I saw egg and eggshells. I wiped it with my hand and felt incredible relief. I also felt incredibly stupid, but so what, right? My face ain't disfigured. I spent the next hour cleaning egg off the ceiling, the walls, the floor, and so on. My face was red for a couple days. Remember when the world was supposed to end December 21st, 2012? That night, a bunch of my friends and I were hanging out in my apartment, smoking a lot of weed and playing games. We made a bunch of jokes about the world not having ended. I was pretty young and dumb, so I actually had some anxiety about that. It felt good to laugh it off. We go onto my balcony and have a cigarette and watch the sunset. Out of nowhere, there's an enormous explosion, and the sky flashes lime green. We all stop talking and stare as the sky flashes green, pink, yellow, and there's these crazy, indescribable crackling sounds. I'm stoned as heck, and I decide that this is it. It's happening. I go into emergency preparedness mode for the alien invasion, and for some reason start filling my bathtub with water. I think it was so we'd have water to drink if we were hiding from the aliens, and the water lines got interrupted? I'm stupid, I don't know. We all run around yelling and freaking out for about 5 minutes while the sky continues to strobe neon colors. So, what had happened was a transformer blew somewhere nearby. No idea that this is what happened in the circumstances, but due to the date, I was not the only one to lose it. My mother was out, and one of her companions fell to her knees and started praying the rosary for the second coming, when the sky started changing colors. Never found a good time to share the story, but it cracks me up, and I still catch shit for the frickin' bathtub. Hey, narrator here, Julius. I'm interrupting the video for a second to talk about something. Where I live, the monsoons have been going on, and I saw this wonderful rainbow. Here, I'll put a picture of it on screen. It's so amazing. Okay, now that you saw that, we can continue. Let's go. In elementary school, we had a program called DARE, where a police officer would come into our class and teach us about the dangers of substance and alcohol abuse. At the end of the year, he prompted us to write an essay about what we learned over the course of the year in DARE. He also advised us that the author of the best essay in the class would receive a stuffed lion appropriately named Darren. Now, I really wanted this lion, but the problem with that was my writing skills were those of a typical third grader. There was no way that anything I wrote about my time in DARE would stand out enough for my fellow classmates to win Darren, so I did what any desperate 10-year-old would do. I googled DARE essay contest winners and then plagiarized the first one that came up in my searches. Now, this was done diligently, carefully proofreading, to ensure I wasn't going to turn in an essay with somebody else's name in it somewhere. I went through and changed phrasing or a word here and there, but by no means would it pass through Turnitin.com with less than 90% of it plagiarized. Confident in my chances of winning Darren, I turned in the essay to Mr. Officer, and what do you know? A week later, we had our end-of-year reception in the municipal building, which also contained the police station. He listed the top 3 essays, 3rd place, 2nd place, and then he said, holding Darren, the best DARE essay submitted this year was written by OP. Come on up here, get your Darren stuffed animal, and read your essay to us, please. I was so excited I won the animal. It was never even a thought that crossed my mind that I would have to deliver this speech. So I reluctantly walked up, took my stuffed animal, and all I can remember at this point is shaking so bad I looked like I was going to fall over at the mic. All of my classmates, all of their parents, and the entire local municipality's worth of police officers with their full attention on me. A 10-year-old little fraud of a student. To this day, it's one of my most shameful moments, and I still have Darren sitting on my desk for discouragement from copying others' work. 6 years ago, I was in Svalbard, walking to my accommodation out of town with shopping and light snow, midwinter, little visibility. A guy on a snowmobile drives up behind me and asks where my gun was. They suggest you always have one for polar bears. I didn't have one, and he was like, "You're crazy, get on the snowmobile, there's a polar bear in town." So I did, shopping bags and all. Lucky me! You're lucky, Words are hard. You are lucky he didn't kidnap you. But you're also lucky the polar bear didn't eat you. So simply put, you're lucky. I was a lonely kid in the mid-2000s, and I joined chat rooms like most kids and teens my age. I was a little younger than the average kid on there as far as I knew, so I lied and upped my age on them, said I was 15 or 16 instead of 11 or 12. I never gave actual info. I said I lived in a different state, almost always gave a fake name. I thought I was clever. I mostly used the sites to either A, talk to girls my age about life and school and boys, or B, role play with boys because my family was very strict and religious and I was curious about naughties. I was super inexperienced and thought I could get some information, or at least explore some different feelings from it. Looking back, that could have gone terribly wrong. However, it was the former reason that got me in trouble. A few years after my parents found out about the chat sites and grounded me permanently from the internet without supervision anyway, my dad got a call at work from an FBI agent located in our state, asking about me being his daughter and my email address. I had foolishly given a girl my email address and exchanged names and small talk before she asked to exchange pictures. She sent one first, and it was so weird and freaked me out into not sending one. The picture was so overtly naughty that I was just not interested. I forgot all about her after that. It turns out she was some 40-year-old child naughty collector in a different time zone who was getting pictures from kids and swapping them around with other people who are not so nice, suffice to say. It was a very complicated but apparently normal thing for those types of people. My email had been found in his computer and they had to talk to us, since I was still a minor. I didn't reply with the pictures, so they weren't too worried about it. I wasn't much help, I don't think. I still refer to that person as a her when I think about it, or when I tell somebody like my significant other. The FBI lady called later to tell my parents that he had been found guilty and sent to prison. I don't know his name, and I don't want to. It definitely freaked me out for a long time. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed the stories I had for you. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with your thoughts down below. Or maybe, heck, do you have a story you want to share? Maybe I'll read it on my channel if you drop it. Anyway, check me out at twitch.tv/CountJulius, and I'll see you all next time. Hasta la pasta.